Yo guys, welcome to another Wuthering Waves video. So today we are gonna run through our first episode of Calcharo guide. Today we will talk about some of his kit tips and best weapons for him in detail. So the reason I'm making these guide videos as parts is because I am recently having a part-time job which would delay a full one guide video. So to not keep you waiting and not stress myself, and at the same time giving you best quality of details and covering everything I know about Calcharo, I'm going to make them into individual videos. So I hope you understand this, and without further ado, let's jump into it. So for new Calcharo players, a quick review for his kit. Basic is basic and intro is intro. And then his outro attack, which I think it is one of the most hard-hitting outros in the game. So it's really good to finish off the boss. Take this clip for example, and by the way, this boss is Electro, so the outro finishing him off like that absolutely saved the run. Now moving on to his skill. You cast it 3 times, and the more you go through its stages the more damage you deal. Then for his Forte circuit, when you have 3 stacks of Forte which are filled by hitting the resonance skill ability, your heavy attack will replaced with Mercy heavy attack. Last but not least, the Resonance Liberation. Calcharo will turn to his flashy lightning form, replacing the Forte and heavy attack Mercy with Death Messenger. You start with an already filled Death Messenger, and the goal is to get another 2 by filling the Forte again by basic attacking for 5 times. And a quick well-known tip. Always dash cancel after basic attack 3 because the first 3 attacks have the highest attack speed. Now that we have covered a quick normal kit review, let's jump into the kit tips. So guys, dodging on Calcharo basic form makes him turn from that clunky character to a really flashy one, and otherwise happens in the liberation form where he turns from flashy to clunky, even making you waste your duration. So for now I'm gonna explain it for basic form first, and how it is a way of maximizing DPS and energy regen too, and later in the video I will give you the liberation one fixes. To start off, Calcharo's basic form dodge counter has a lot of iframes. So you can use this for your benefit, and even if you get hit from consecutive boss attacks you will stay hitless and healthy, and here are some examples of this. As you can see against the 8 hologram, I'm totally safe because of Calcharo's dodge animation. And right after I'm doing another one, so you don't have to bother about that stupid pillar hitbox getting you. And for this one, I'm just dodging the first and third attacks of the chimp's wind attacks, and if you are noticing this, my model gets hit by the second and fourth attacks but I'm still safe and sound. Same example here for the Crownless, where I dodge the first attacks of his double hit combos. My model still gets hit on paper but there is no damage taken. Another thing guys is that you have to know your enemy's attack pattern, so you know where to perfectly dodge and precise your attack windows. It's like attack dodge punish dodge again counter and so on. Mastering the fight will lead you to a very flashy playstyle even on the basic form, and will lead you to the max DPS and energy management. Do not be fooled guys that Calcharo is only about resonance liberation damage. His skill is not only for his Forte filling. They actually do a really good portion of his damage, and most importantly for his energy. I see some showcases where players skip E3 animation because of this 1 second, which has one of the most energy contribution and like more than 30k damage. And to a no surprise for me, if they don't have like 15% energy regen, they find themselves with like 2 or 3 seconds wasted filling the rest of the liberation energy after they intro the fight. Notice here I can just E2 into Verena, but instead I use E3, delaying 1 second of the rotation but gaining good portion of energy, and I'm not saying don't skip it all the time. If you have to skip dealing damage with any of your resonance skill, yeah, do it as what the situation tells you. Notice after I intro here I have the ult ready even before I use the E or the Forte passive even. And yes, some will say I skip E3 and I do not have energy problems even with low energy stats. I agree with you, it was my case at first, but sometimes I find myself needing that last portion of energy even after Forte energy passive as well. On the other hand, since I started using E3 in the rotation I never had a problem, and my energy is only 6% on Calcharo. You may have already known this if you watch my Calcharo's videos. The other aspect, and this is important mostly for solo Calcharo, is your skill damage is like 40 to 45% of your run damage. It's crucial to hit those skills as every bit of damage is important for those runs. On top of that, they help you get liberation damage the fastest. So mastering the fight will lead you to the best usage of them to max DPS and energy. Look at the damage E3 does alone in this fight. Almost 20k damage on both hits, which is almost the same as the Liberation first hit damage, and on top of that it has low cooldown, and there are the first 2 stages of Resonance skill too. So we talked about E3 a lot, so let's talk about short tip. Get a good usage for E1 and E2. So E1 and 2 have a really short animation and they can be cancelled, meaning you can turn Calcharo into a ranged character, and letting your shadow get the stacks for you. And they also can be combined with other attacks that doesn't work for E3 for sure, so care not to get stuck in animation and get hit. For example here, I am gonna dash cancel anyway after basic 3, so I combined that with E2 dash cancel to maximize damage. Another clip here. I used E1 in combination with the Tempest Mephisto to push the first chimp into others to have a better grouping. In that instance, you can get really flexible and smooth with using Calcharo's skill. Even pre-fire it sometimes and the shadows get the job for you. So first about the Forte bar. If you have 3 stacks and you cast heavy attack Mercy, you will get 10% more liberation damage. But good news, you don't have to cast the full animation. You only need to cast it and animation cancel it and you are good to go. Another thing about Forte is that whenever you use Mercy you get 6 energy and 5 for every Death Messenger, and again this doesn't have to get full cast to refund energy. Moreover, the animation doesn't provide you with energy anyway. So make sure to not overstack the Forte circuit, just use it or cancel it for energy and then keep using your skill to hasten the next Forte. And here are the examples for this. I want to talk about this clip exactly. As you can see, Scar will just spam that ground hit, so I know it's impossible to get 2 Death Messenger damage. So I just cancel it for energy, which came handy at the end of the run, and just get the next Death Messenger damage. So the first liberation tip is for low ping players. You animation cancel your basic attack 3, where your shadow will get you the 3rd basic stack. It happens that you click 3 times and the input will go to the server as you attack. So that's why it's really hard to pull off when you have more than 60 ping, but when mastered it's really broken on Calcharo. And here is another explanation of it on Jinzi. The 3rd dragon attack registers even after I dash. And now let's talk about dodge counter being annoying on Calcharo's liberation form. So first thing is you can cancel the dodge counter animation really fast using Calcharo's skill 1 and 2. And it comes really handy here as I managed to get a 2nd Death Messenger against one of the most annoying attacks in the game. So guys, dodge in this game has internal cooldown and you will notice this after you dash twice in a row. So here the next part. You can dash cancel the dodge animation really fast even without resonance skill if you don't put the dodge on ICD. Meaning if you save 2 dashes, 1 for the dodge and 1 for the dash cancel, you will not get stuck in that counter animation and you will keep on hitting the enemy. Notice here that I don't dash cancel my 3rd basic when I'm seeing that the boss will attack and just go for the 4th stack, so after I dodge, I will have another quick dash cancel to keep getting Death Messenger. So here is the short summary for all of this. 1. Master your enemy's pattern. Know when to attack and when to dodge and when to punish. 2. Your resonance skill is a huge part of your kit, don't ignore it. 3. Don't overstack your Forte, use it wisely for energy and cancel when needed. 4. Learn and master animation cancels to get the max value of your resonance liberation. Combine all of these tips into one tip, which is, practice makes perfect. With all that said, we reached the end of Calcharo kit or gameplay tips, and let's head to the next part, his weapons. So in this part I will discuss the 3 5-star weapons we have in the game at the moment and which the best for Calcharo specifically, and I will give you a short brief about which is the best for your account in the end. So let's start with Lustrous Razor. This weapon is perfect for Calcharo. You get a juicy 21% liberation damage, and on top of that you almost get 13% energy regen. And what that means is that you can focus on more offensive stats on your echoes and not caring anymore about energy. And it matches his both playstyles of solo and team play, and I know solo Calcharo might not be a realistic thing in the future because for sure content will get harder, but just to be covering all aspects. And for his secondary stat you get a ton of attack, and attack percentage in this game rivals crit damage, so you don't need to worry about that. Next up, the Verdant Summit. This is a really good one, especially if you were pulling for Gian. It gives you good 12% elemental bonus and it gives you 24% more on your death messenger, and a ton of crit damage too. The only catch for me with this weapon, it is really lacking in solo Calcharo playstyle, and I tested it on my friend's account. And unless you pulled for Gian, this weapon is of a low value, to be honest, and I will discuss that later on. Last but not least, Ages of Harvest. This weapon has a lot. The same as Verdant, you get free 12% elemental damage bonus and on top of that 48% skill damage bonus when on full effect. And unlike the Verdant Summit, you get 24% skill damage bonus through the whole run, which has a really short cooldown, and that turns Calcharo into both Resonance skill and Liberation character even at half of its full effect. So it fits solo Calcharo playstyle really well. And the most important thing, it gives crit rate, which makes this weapon really universal for many characters even if you don't use the full effect, which makes it a future-proof weapon for sure. Before I give you my ranking on 5-star weapons, I want to mention other 4-star options. They are a good substitution and you will clear for sure with them, but the difference will be very evident compared to 5-star weapons. Now here is my weapon ranking for Calcharo's value and your account value. I explained Calcharo's value already, and for your account value I will give the explanation right away. So guys, I want to clarify a thing here. A weapon like Verdant Summit being at the 3rd place doesn't mean it's bad. It's amazing on Calcharo, and the difference from Lustrous will be from 3 to 10% only. I'm just ranking them based on which is overall better, so do keep that in mind. So let's talk about these weapons' value for your account from top to bottom. Ages of Harvest. As I mentioned early on, this weapon has crit rate on it, which makes it a future-proof weapon. So even if you don't use its effect, you have elemental damage bonus and really good statistic, and the more you crit the more consistent you will be. So I'm seeing this weapon being a really good option for future characters. Let alone it's the signature weapon of the most broken DPS in the game right now, and compared to other weapons on Jinzi it's not even close. Next, Lustrous Razor. This actually a free weapon that you can get for free at UL 45. The only thing that holds that weapon back is Emerald of Genesis, the 5-star sword. It's insane on most of characters and it proved to be more future-proof than Lustrous. And I'm sure most of you already picked Emerald instead of Lustrous, so for the moment it doesn't win the competition. As for it being on the others like Gian and Jinzi, it performs really well, but again compared to their signatures the difference is evident. Last but not least, the Verdant Summit. I can see this weapon being of a really insane value of only you will get Gian or if you have him. Otherwise it is not future-proof at all, because we already have 2 heavy attacks users, Calcharo and Gian. So I am not thinking they will make another heavy attack broad blade user for the time being. Instead they might focus on a basic attacker or liberation nuke user, which in this case the Lustrous and Ages can be better. This is my honest opinion about this, and again I'm not saying Verdant is bad. I'm a Gian wanter myself and I will be pulling for him and his weapon. This is just an extra section to help you pick the best for your account. Alright guys, with all that said, we have reached the end of this video. There will be more like 2 or 3 parts of these Calcharo guide videos, so stay tuned if you are interested. Also feel free to comment your opinion about all of this and correct me if I'm wrong in anything. At the end I'm gonna ask you please to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next ones. Peace.